today.
And says, am I getting beard on you?
Well, it's not that. It's my body makeup.
Right. And then says, it smells good. And she says, it's my body makeup. That's her big harassment moment. They are playfully acting for the camera, trying to make it look like two lovers, two people in a relationship are dancing with one another. For those who are not in the Hollywood world, what is wrong with her taking over the film?
I've never seen it before in my 30-plus year career in Hollywood. She wanted to be a producer. She started to make edits. She wanted to be part of the editing team. There were people hired, like human beings actually hired to do the editing job, who had done work as editors. She wanted to be part of that team. The next thing you know...
Who wrote to me said that they worked on the set of It Ends With Us, okay? And that the villain in this entire story is not Blake Lively. It's not Justin Baldoni, but it is Ryan Reynolds. He goes into Blake Lively's trailer and they have an argument. All of the production assistants overheard the argument, okay? Now, what was at the root of that argument? We don't know, but we can assume it had something to do with what he saw in these dailies, what he read in the script. Who even knows what led him to even visit on this day? And the person says that from that day forward, he started involving himself, that he basically became a chaperone.
It's my favorite story, I think, in showbiz this year. The Justin Baldoni war with Blake Lively, which seems to me, initially I felt quite sorry for Blake Lively. Then I've been reading all the messages between them all, and which he's been putting out, obviously. And it just seems like a pair of absolute weapons-grade narcissists. Now, spray gunning each other with as much dirt as they can possibly do, having spewed lovey-dovey stuff to each other.
Blake Lively may have been all smiles when she arrived at the Oscars, but by the end of the night, yikes.
Now, someone who's not even nominated, Dancing Deadpool! I won't waste time. He won't waste time. I won't waste time. He won't.
Interesting. Let's just say Conan O'Brien had some jokes, and Blake Lively was not having it. Now we've seen our fair share of celebrity roast moments, but this one had Twitter spiraling, the audience cringing, and Blake, well, let's just say the cameras caught some interesting reactions.
And it's no wonder everyone avoided them like the plague.
TMZ just dropped a bomb on Blake Lively, and it made her day from pretty bad to...
But wait, here's where things get juicy. Blake was already in the middle of a messy lawsuit with Justin Baldoni before the Oscars even happened. So was Conan's joke just bad timing? Or did he intentionally strike a nerve?
Uncomfortable with Justin Baldoni yesterday while she was filming. She states that Mr. Baldoni put his bare hands on her backside and said that he was trying to help her with her posture. Complainant immediately voiced her displeasure with being touched.
A comedian, an A-list actress, and a legal battle. Oh, this is the kind of Hollywood chaos we live for. So what exactly did Conan say? How did Blake react? And is this all just one big misunderstanding or the beginning of something bigger? Let's break it all down.
Blake was determined to make him the real-life villain in her story because she wasn't doing well on the promo tour for the movie. It was very tone-deaf. Her hair care line wasn't doing well. She was trying to sell booze.
Conan O'Brien had the Oscars audience in stitches, effortlessly roasting Hollywood's biggest stars as only he could. The man is a legend in comedy, and when he stepped onto that stage, you knew somebody was about to get roasted. Now, what nobody expected was that the biggest moment of the night would come at the expense of Blake Lively. Yep, you heard that right. Oh, Blake is always looking flawless, always poised, but even a queen of composure like her couldn't prepare for what was coming. So there's Conan. Mic in hand, the crowd eating out of the palm of his hand, he starts, riffing about various A-list stars, and boom, he directs a pointed commentary hinting at Blake Lively's lawsuit troubles. Ooh, the room shifts, the laughter stutters, a few gasps, and Blake, yeah, her expression changes really quickly, and here is where things get interesting. Blake didn't just sit there and take it. A few minutes later, sources say she got up and left for good, never to come back to the event. We all know it was not just a cool-off, and neither was it for a quick bathroom break. However, could it be something more? I guess that's a question we may never get the answer to because up until this day, Blake has not said anything about the incident at the Oscars. The cameras conveniently did not follow Lively after she exited the auditorium, but that didn't stop the speculation. Multiple reports say that Blake was caught completely off guard and felt humiliated, which was why she left the auditorium soon, after Conan made the said joke. Now, this was the Oscars, one of the world's most televised award events that captivates the entertainment industry, so it was almost impossible not to notice Blake Lively leaving such a huge gathering, especially since she left not too long after the jab was thrown at her. However, people want to know where Lively went immediately after she left the auditorium. That day, did Conan's joke push her over the edge? Was she texting her legal team mid-Oscars and preparing to sue Conan O'Brien as suing the supposedly offending party is usually her first response to humiliation, or as some internet sleuths theorized, was she heading backstage to give a piece of her mind anyway? One thing is for sure, Blake's immediate exit shifted something in the whole atmosphere. The scene that was created for acceptance speeches and whatnot turned into an unfolding moment of the conflict between Blake and Justin Baldoni. Witnesses report that whispers could be heard in the auditorium as Blake left those who were aware of the whole lawsuit drama between the two main characters of the movie. Adaptation of it ends with us started to fill in those who clear had been living under a rock and were not in the loop of the hottest topic in Hollywood. Now, those who sat closer to Lively allegedly reported that the Hollywood actress had a distinct expression of shock and anger written all over her face. Of course, she would be displeased by the sudden jab at her. In public at the Oscars of all places, we all know humiliation from such a public event does not just go unnoticed. It spreads like wildfire. Although people did not notice what was going on that day quickly, as Blake was out of the auditorium before. You could say Jack Robinson whispers about the incident still did not leave the lips of witnesses who had seen it happen firsthand. X, formerly known as Twitter, is raving with floods of tweets. News of yet another one of Blake Lively's public humiliations has made rounds across the internet. At this point, just how much can Lively's reputation take? If you ask me, I don't think it can take any more jabs, especially not at this period when various revelations of Blake Lively's terrible behavior are resurfacing every other day. I mean, just the other day, this was revealed about Hollywood's Queen Bee.
I would show up on a set. I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say. But I also knew that that wasn't fulfilling for me, that I wanted to be a part of the storytelling, that I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character. And sometimes I had directors or producers or writers who would welcome that and invite that once they saw that I was able to offer that. And sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. Yet when I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, sometimes that might have felt like a rug pull because you're like, you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do. And so it was a really strange position to be in because I felt like I don't want to just be an actor. I want to have more authorship.
That's not all. It turns out that Blake Lively was not just rumored to have the dirty habit of usurping other people's projects, especially the ones she was invited to feature in. No, guys, she actually opened her mouth and said it herself during an interview. Here, take a look. That's it, right from the horse's mouth. So many receipts like this are being pulled out on a daily basis. And no matter how much damage control Blake Lively tries to do, she just cannot control the number of proofs coming out now anyway. Back to Crew. Her most recent form of HUMILIATES, the one that took place at the Oscars. Blake's exit, although quiet, has left a resounding impact on her image. Why? Well, for starters, it is highly uncommon for an A-lister, a star of Blake's level, to publicly leave an event as huge as the Oscars, an event known for its decorum and widely recognized celebration. Even if you had to leave, it wouldn't be done so publicly, and certainly also not almost immediately after a jab was taken at you. I must say, this is certainly not a great look for Blake Lively, and the fact that the entire world is starting to hear about the drama surrounding her makes it even worse. But that's not all, as is the usual way on the internet. The moment news about Blake Lively's behavior at the Oscars started to spread, people across social media came out like troops. Everyone had one thing or the other to say about the incident. Users began speculating about what Conan O'Brien said to Lively at the Oscars, some of them implying that what he said must have cut Blake a little too deep. However, the major question is, did Blake Lively storm out of the auditorium because what Conan O'Brien said was true? Or could it be that O'Brien was just being a jester as usual, and his statement was a harmless joke for a night that was created to commemorate huge milestones being achieved? In Hollywood, the sudden turn of events was jarring. I mean, instead of the Oscars trending for the awards and people's looks, and the general excitement of it all, people across social media were talking about Blake Lively's abrupt exit.